So, John, welcome and thank you for taking time for joining me here today.
Greg, thanks for the invite, and I'm ready to go.
All right, excellent. Well, we're going to start with the softball question. I said to everybody, no softball questions, but there's certainly, we have to have pleasantries at the beginning. Who is John Shulli? For someone who's never heard of you before today, who are you beyond campaign signs and slogans?
All right, well, I'm John Shulli, Army Colonel and Republican candidate for United States Senate in great state of Delaware. Born and raised in Delaware, I went to Arizona for college, ROTC to pay for it. And 30 years later, I'm a colonel in the Army Reserves. So when I was a brigade commander, it was my job to put mission first, but people always. Because building and protecting the team enabled us to win every time. I want the same for the people of Delaware, because for far too long, our state has been under single party rule to the detriment of us all. Skyrocketing cost of living, young couples that can't afford their first home, and schools that push radical ideologies instead of excellence. And we have a leadership class that only knows managed decline. When I was in Iraq, I remember seeing C-130s flying over me. I couldn't help remember, that reminds me of the Delaware Air National Guard. So to me, Delaware had my back in Iraq. I could see a C-130 flying over, and it reminded me of Delaware. Well, now I'm back in Delaware. It's time for me to have Delaware's back, because, well, right now it's time for a new day for Delaware. It's time to build for the future while protecting our heritage and land. Let's put Delaware on the map. Let's make Delaware and America energy independent. Let's make Delaware the jobs factory of the 21st century. All right, that's the vision. How are we going to do it? The American system of economics. The same system that Hamilton used to jumpstart the American Revolution and complete it after the Constitution was signed. Abraham Lincoln, he used it to reconstruct after this devastating Civil War. Roosevelt used it to build the arsenal for democracy. Around halfway through the Cold War, Nixon took us off the gold standard, and a few other things happened that introduced globalism into our system and pushed out the American system. And since that time period, the 70s, our middle class has been strip mined by this globalist system, this empire system. No more. This giant who's been laying on the ground with all these cables laying over it, holding America down, Donald Trump and the American people are slowly clipping those cables free. One of them is tariffs to protect our industry. Another is on the geopolitical front, getting China out of Panama, taking Maduro out of Venezuela, cutting that cable of the drug cartels, the narco-terrorism happening in the South, bring all that death and destruction up to the United States, putting a cap or stymieing the illicit money flows going from the cartels out through the Cayman Islands and what have you into the shadow banks of the world, and other things that have happened to start releasing this giant, to awaken the giant that is America. I mean, you can imagine we now have the opportunity, because we have a president who is getting government out of the way, who is protecting our economy. Great example is we've had 4 nuclear company startups that do small modular reactors. They went critical in a good way in under a year. That's never happened before anywhere on a planet. That's what happens when you release the energy that is the United States of America. And that's where we are, Greg. We are at the tipping point we're at the launch pad of moving forward in America.